Now, before you begin this lesson, make sure you're using the Oracle Database 11G Administration Workshop 1 textbook, which is the student guide. And also make sure that you are using the Appendix A, Practices and Solutions, Practice 2-1, Installing and Configuring the Oracle Grid Infrastructure. It begins on page A10, and you will follow along with the textbook. However, some of the information could vary with what the textbook says. So that's the purpose of this video, to help guide you through the text itself to make sure we get the install correct. So we're going to go open the VirtualBox Manager. Of course, that's where our virtual machines are. There are 4 of the virtual machines. We're going to be using the Oracle curriculum, which is the red hat. We're going to start up the red hat. It's going to take a few minutes. Of course, it's going to go through the entire process where it loads all of the Linux information. However, it's not loading a database because the database has not been installed. We have prepared the Linux 5.2 server to install the 11G with Grid. So once we get to the login page and where the password and the username goes, that's when we'll actually begin. Just like we did with the developer days, you'll use the same password, which is Oracle, to log in, and Oracle for the username. Give it a few minutes. It does take time to get to this place in the install. You'll see the blue page, Enterprise Linux 5, username Oracle, enter, password Oracle, enter. Now it's going to log us into a desktop that looks very much like the desktop from developer days. However, there's nothing on it. That's because there is no database here. So just remember, as you go through the process, there is no database. We're going to go to the top navigational bar where it says Applications, and we're going to click on the Applications icon, click down on the drop-down menu for Accessories, drop down to where it says Terminal, right-click, and add this terminal to the desktop. The reason to add the terminal window to the desktop, you will see that it will be extremely convenient for us to access the terminal from here. We'll be using this a lot throughout the process of this course, and you're going to want it on your desktop to find it easily. So we're going to open up that terminal window. You see a flashing black cursor. Of course, that is the prompt where we type all of the commands for accessing the database. So here we're going to type the very first command. We're going to cd to the Oracle home, cd $, all up in caps, home. Now it looks like it's changed our directory from the tilde to 11.2.0. Of course, that's the directory for the home. We're going to type pwd to verify our directory. It's going to tell us what that pathway to the directory is. And I've highlighted that for you on the screen. And now we're going to export that path. We're going to type export, Oracle home, =. We're going to come over here, copy it, and paste it right behind the back of the =. We're going to click enter, and now you can see that we have exported that, we're going to verify that we're going to CD to the grid, and we're going to verify there's nothing in the grid. We haven't done any activity here yet. And we're going to make sure that everything we've done is there up to this point. So we're going to echo our Oracle home. As you can see, it's there. It's popped out the actual address of home. If yours is not the same as what I have on the screen, at this point you need to stop, get your instructor, and find out what's wrong. You don't need to go any farther on this process until this is corrected. Okay, now we've exported it. We're going to, we've echoed our $ home. We know our path is correct. We're still in the grid folder, typing ls once again to make sure we've done nothing or no other activity. Now we're going to CD out of the grid, and we're going to type the command CD D*, and it's going to take us to the desktop. If you notice, here I am on the desktop now. My path directory has changed from the tilde to desktop. And we're going to type ls, and you can see there are files and folders in here. A file is black and a folder is blue. And inside that folder is where we want to be to actually run our installer. So we're going to type cdor star, and we're going to click enter. And now it's put us inside that install directory. And if you look inside there, you'll see there are both directories and files that are zipped in green. Those are the installation files we're going to be using for this assignment. So we're going to type cd grid and enter. We're back in the grid, and we're going to run that installer that we want to use for this. So we're going to type ls. If you notice in green it says run installer. We're going to type /run installer, the entire word, and click enter. And it's going to launch the Oracle Universal Installer. That is the GUI interface that's kind of an installation wizard that will open up for you to install the grid infrastructure that we're going to use in this course. Now your GUI interface has opened up. It should look exactly like mine. It should give you the option to select an installation option. We're going to select number 2, which is install and configure grid infrastructure for a standalone server. We're going to go to the bottom of the page, click next. Now we're on the product languages. We're not going to choose another language. We're going to select the default, keep it, click next. And now we're on the create the automatic storage management disk group, ASM. The disk group default name is data, which is correct. The redundancy has defaulted to normal, which is correct. We're going to come down here and select disk 1, disk 2, disk 3, and disk 4. And we're going to say next. Now here's where we're going to select to use the same passwords for all of our accounts. We are not going to use what the book has instructed you, which is, I believe, Oracle for you. We're going to use the password Oracle, all lowercase, just like we have for everything else, to keep that from being difficult for us to remember, and that way everyone has the same password. And it will help you in the process of if you make a mistake and I need to check it, of course, I'll be able to get in there and look at it. It's going to tell us it doesn't really like us using that password because it's really not a very good secure password. We're just going to say, do you want to continue? Yes, we do. Now we're on the page where we're going to put the privileged operating system groups. And instead of using OA install, we're going to use DBA on every single group. So make sure you have clicked the drop-down menu and selected DBA. Go to the bottom of the page and click Next. It's not going to like that because operating system and ASM are the same OS group. It's going to say it doesn't like it, but it's okay. Just say yes and move on. Now, we're checking the defaults here. The location for our Oracle base, it should be exactly what it defaults to on mine. U01/app/Oracle, and then the software location is U01 app Oracle product 11.2.0. These are important for you to remember. You're going to use these paths over and over again. If you want to write them down and keep a list of this or take a snapshot of this page, it might be useful. Now we're going to click Next. It's going to say the selected Oracle home contains directory or files. Yes, we want to continue. We're now in the U01 app inventory directory, and it's going to want us to create that. We're going to say yes, we want to create that, and it's going to take a few minutes and perform the prerequisite checks. And it'll give you the response to that. You may want to take a snapshot of it or save that response on your desktop. We're going to click Finish. And the process of installation begins. I'm going to put you on pause for a few minutes while this installation process continues. As soon as it gets to where we can do the next step, I will begin again. Okay, by now you should have a screen that says Execute Configuration Scripts with some directions at the bottom. We're going to open a brand new terminal window. On this terminal window, we're going to log in as root. So we're going to type su-. Our root password is Oracle. And notice that I've changed from the Oracle at localhost to root at localhost. Now we're ready to begin with the practices on page A14, which is in your Workshop 1 textbook. So at the top of the page, it's going to tell you to run some scripts. And first we're going to cd to that directory. So we're going to type cd U01/apps, and then we're going to type ORA I*. And now we're in the directory for Aura Inventory. And we're going to look, and of course you can see that the Aura Insta root shell script is in here. So we're going to run that script by typing ./Aura Insta root.sh, and we're going to hit run. It says it's completed. It doesn't take very long for that one. The second script we're going to run is going to be the second one in our scripts under the execute configuration scripts. So we're going to cd to that particular location, Oracle product 11.2.0. And now we're in the 11.2.0. If you type ls. Of course, you can see the root.sh there. So now we're going to run the script for the root shell script. Everything with a .sh behind it is a shell script. So we're going to type ./root.sh. It's going to ask us, do we want this to be the default? Just hit a Y for yes and let it go ahead and start installing. Do not close the Execute Configuration Scripts page yet. Let this finish installing on your root command line. It may take a few minutes, so be patient. It's going to check swap space and several other things to make sure we have enough room for everything. And then it says my updated node list was successful. Great. Now I can come over to, I don't need to be on the terminal window right now. I can minimize it. I can come to the Execute Configuration Scripts and click OK. And wait for the rest of the installation process to continue. It may take a few more minutes for this to complete, so I'm going to pause the video until this process has completely stopped. Okay, now it looks like everything has succeeded, everything's progressed the way it's supposed to. The last thing that's in progress is the Automatic Storage Management Configuration Assistant. So I'm letting that continue to install. And when it completes, I'm going to click Finish or Close. It tells me at the top of the page, the installation of Oracle infrastructure for a standalone server was successful. I'm going to click Close. I do not need this opened any longer. And I don't need to have my root opened any longer, so I can close that terminal window completely. And now I can also close the other terminal window, open up a new one. I like to start with a fresh page. It kind of helps you to see what's going on. You can also clear the page if you wish. Okay, now we're in step number 13 on page A15 of your practice 2-1. So, we're going to add the FRA disk group. And in order to do that, there's a couple of things we have to do. So, at the prompt, we're going to echo our $Oracle home. Make sure it's the right path. It should still remain the same that we set. We're going to type here space Aura env, which is checking for the Oracle environment. It's going to check the Oracle environment. It's going to give you a line that says Oracle_SID equals the Oracle database. And right here, we're going to type in exactly what your book tells you to type, plus capital ASM, which is the Automatic Storage Management. Enter it. It's going to tell you the base and the Oracle home. And here we're going to type ASMCA, just like your book tells you, to start the ASM Configuration Assistant. So this is another GUI interface that allows you to configure the Automatic Storage Management System. If you look on here, it looks like we already have the data group configured with normal redundancy, and it's mounted. So now we're going to create a second group, and this group is going to be called FRA. So at the top of page A16, it tells you exactly what to do. You type FRA in the disk group name. You're going to make redundancy external. And it tells you to click 5, 6, 7, and 8. We don't have an 8, so we're only doing 5, 6, and 7 at this point. We're going to click OK. It's going to create those 3 disks for us. Most of the assignment you're going to do, it doesn't need that extra disk in order to do it. As you can see, it mounted that externally. It gave you the additional 675 size here of space. And you should be complete with that. You can click Exit. Do you really want to quit the application? Yes, of course we do. And now you can close any of the additional terminal windows that you have open. You can close them one of 2 ways. Clicking the X in the corner or typing Exit will take you out. Now we're going to save the state of this machine because we want to make sure that when we come back, we don't have to redo 2-1 again in case we make a mistake doing 2-2. So up here, we're going to take a snapshot of the machine. I'm going to name this Practice 2-2, and I'm going to give it a date, which today's date for me is 6/16/2015. You're going to want to give it the date that you're working on it. And I'm going to say this is the completed assignment for Practice 2-2. Just a description to give me a little bit of information. I'm going to say OK. And notice it's going to take a few minutes to save the state of the machine and reconfigure it. Now I'm ready to come up here and either close this machine or log out. There's a couple of ways you can do that. Go to System, remember, Shut Down. It's going to say the system will be shut down in 60 seconds. We're just going to hit Shut Down. It's going to shut down all of this system for us. Take us back to our original manager, the Oracle VirtualBox Manager. We're going to verify once again that our state has been saved, because tomorrow or the next day when we come back and decide to do Practice 2-2, we want to make sure that state is still there. It's going to unmount everything. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to do this process. I'm going to look at my snapshots and I'm going to be able to see Practice 2-2 was completed and saved inside my snapshots. You have now completed the assignment for installing the Oracle Grid and Infrastructure.